afternoon, everyone. I hope you are all well and keeping safe. Given that I only have 15 minutes, I just want to quickly update you all with what is new and exciting. Oh, there we go. New and exciting for this year. For those who are not familiar with Supreme, it is a family-owned business that has been manufacturing high-efficiency wood products for over 3 decades. Dom, I'll let you show a beautiful family portrait. There we all are. So my father is right by me, and that's my sister and brother, Alex and Catherine. So in 2016, we launched, Dom, you could go to the next slide, sorry. Yeah. So in 2016, we partnered with UBG to develop, I'm just going to briefly update people who have never done, who have never bought any of our products. So in 2016, we partnered with UBG and developed a line of high efficiency, zero clearance fireplaces that would be sold exclusively to the UBG members under the Ambiance brand called the Elegance series. The Elegance is available in 3 firebox sizes and features soapstone slabs inside the firebox. So this year, a lot of dealers requested in the past that we'd have a linear plenum available when installing a clean face. And I just want to quickly update the dealers and let them know that that linear plenum is now available for the Elegance 40 and 42. So for the larger models, you could see an image of that linear grill right at the top. So it definitely looks a lot cleaner. Let's move on to the next slide. And last fall, we introduced our first stove series called the Novo. It's a contemporary wood stove. If you just go on the next slide and we'll go over a couple of the features just to quickly brief the dealers on the Novo. So they're EPA 2020 approved, non-catalytic. They do come with a variable burn rate. So there is a selector, so it is a variable burn rate. So users could burn either on high or low depending on their heating requirements and preferences. It features our patented automatic air control. So for those who are not familiar with our system, it's a one-step operation. It's fully automated. Simply the user has to just simply activate their air control, and that gradually reduces the primary air to the selected burn rate. The Novo comes available in 3 firebox sizes. So the 3.8 is now available. So the smaller one was our 1.8 cubic foot firebox, 2.4 and 3.8. Another nice feature is that the customer can customize the firebox by choosing one of the 2 following K-listed materials. So I'll let you go on the slide so they could see. You have the choice between either the cast iron panels. Is it going, Dom? Or?
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, no problem. So either the cast iron panels, the cast iron is stamped with a decorative brick design, but can also be reversed to like a fluted pattern, or you could go with obviously the soapstone slabs. It is the same EPA certification and same price point. It really is just a question of preference for the customer. So that's also a nice feature. You could go to the next slide or the next feature.
Yes, all right.
Oh yeah, so the blowers, they come with blowers. So for the 2 smaller, the small and medium model comes with a 130 CFM blower, and our larger firebox, the 38, the 3.8 cubic foot, comes with dual 130 CFM blowers for a total of 260. The burn time is up to 12 hours, and the back clearance is as low as 6 inches with a double wall pipe. So we could move on to the next slide. Thanks. So for those who weren't in attendance at this year's HBP Expo, we introduced the Loomis 32, which is our a really large fireplace insert. You could go to the next one. So just a preview of the image of the 32. It's got a really big firebox and nice viewing area. And what we're going to do is also a comparable model will be offered to UBG members exclusively under the Ambiance brand called the Flare 34. So this is a preview of how this fireplace insert will look like, the Flare 34. You can move on to the next slide. So it's basically comparing the Loomis to the Flare. It shares the same great engine, like a lot of the same features. It's obviously EPA 2020 approved, non-catalytic, a really large firebox. This is a 3.2 cubic foot firebox. It obviously comes with our patented automatic air control, again, user-friendly, one-step operation, variable burn rate. It's installed on a 6-inch liner. It comes pre-assembled with 2 blowers that are already included for 155 CFM total. The viewing area is really impressive. So I find this really fits like a niche. It's a really large EPA Firebox 2020 with a really generous viewing area. So it's 22, almost 23 inches in height and in width, I apologize, and 15 and a half in height. The burn time, depending on, because it is a variable burn rate, depending on what burn rate they've selected, it's between 6 to 12 hours. And the intention is by 2021 to have a complete series available. So the Flare 34 would be the largest one, but we plan on having a medium-sized insert and a smaller one, hopefully by 2021. Just a bit like the Elegance, grow the line so we have a complete series to offer our members. Next slide. So if we compare basically the Loomis 32 with the Flare, so just to have a bit of a comparison, the Loomis 32 has an inside firebox with reversible cast iron panels. So you have the brick design on one side, fluted design on the other. You have a rectangular surround, and it's available to all our authorized Supreme dealers. The Flare is the soapstone panels inside. It has an arch design for the surround and door, and that is exclusive only to UBG members. Now, keep in mind, if you are a UBG member, a dealer, you have obviously access to both. You have the Loomis and the Flare. However, other authorized dealers of ours do not have access to the Flare or the Elegance because they're not part of UBG. But you, as a member, have can buy both. Next slide. Okay, so just the existing masonry opening dimensions required. Because this is a bit of a bigger firebox, it does require a bit more of space. So the height is 23.75, the depth is 18.75, the front width is 33.25, and the back width is 22. So it does taper in the back to 22. It does require a bit more room because it is obviously a really big firebox. Next slide. There we go. They're just showing all the dimensions. So price point, anywhere between $35.99 to $38.99. Obviously, the Flare, we try to competitively price our UBG products. So you're looking more at $35.99 for the Flare, and then more like $38.99 for the Loomis. And the plan is to have it ready for this season. We've passed EPA certification. We're really at the final stages before manufacturing. So next slide. So for those of you who are not a UBG, a Supreme dealer, and are wondering if you should become one, here are some benefits. One, as a UBG member, you get a 50% dealer discount off MSRP. So that really gives you a great margin for our products. You have low dealer cost on Ambiance products. So our prices always for Ambiance are super competitive, and we try to keep them very low. You get a shared freight program, which is basically essentially discounted freight. We pay a portion of the freight and you assume the rest, and you're part of our program. So you know exactly how much you're paying for freight. The terms are net 30. You have an exclusive line of wood products sold under the Ambiance brand. Territory protection. So we're really big on territory protection. You know, typically when we have an assigned, we try to find an assigned dealer per territory. A lot of dealers ask, what kind of radius do you offer for protection? And it really depends. It varies market per market. So, I mean, it could be as small as 30 kilometers. It could go up to 120 kilometers. Usually what we do is we work with our dealers. So therefore, if there is a dealer who wants to have access to our line, and if we're unsure if they may compete with you, normally we talk to our dealers and verify with them if indeed we could open another dealer close to them. And we really want to just protect the territory, because we offer exclusive products, unique products, innovative features, and we want to keep that territory protected. Also, just to go back on our freight program, as if you do multiple unit orders, the freight does decrease per unit, and at 6, it's always prepaid. Yeah, you can move on to the next, sorry. So a lot of dealers were asking about the Duet. So the plan is to continue selling the Duet and the Vision in Canada, you know, because we have a CSA approval. So we're working the final steps to continue selling that Duet and Vision in Canada, but we will eventually come with a new product that's going to be EPA 2020 approved, so that we could sell it in the US as well. Some more news and updates. The Fusion 24, we are working to try to get this product EPA 2020 approved, but we want to continue selling it because it is a really popular model. Next slide. We purchased new machinery to just, last year we purchased new machinery to just basically increase our production efficiency and preciseness. We're also we're working with a CRM to create a portal for our dealers and members to kind of speed up process and avoid potential mistakes. Also, the charcoal color will be discontinued. The charcoal color, like let's say, for instance, on our Duet, Vision, and Fusion models, that's going to be discontinued as of May 1st. And then we made the decision not to increase our prices this year. Typically, we do a price increase in the summertime, and this year we have decided, and we try to do a small price increase every year, but this year we've decided not to increase our prices. All right. So for those who have not yet submitted an early buy program, the early buy is, we've extended the deadline till the end of May. You know, it's the early buy, we don't ask for a big commitment. You know, if you have any pending orders that you need to send out, you know, early buys, you could start benefiting from additional discounts, even for orders as small as 2 units. So from 2 to 5 units, you would still get an additional 3% off dealer net cost. It really starts becoming interesting at 6 units. So at 6 units, you get an additional 6% discount off dealer cost, free freight on your entire order, and then your payment terms are extended to 60 days. Now, keep in mind, you have up until the end of May to submit your early buy. So if we ship product in June, that means that you'd only be paying for that in August. So it really gives you, and that's just before the busy season, so it really gives you enough time to get product, have an inventory of product and ready for the season. And then if you do 12 units, 12 to 23, that would give you an additional 8% off dealer cost, free freight, payment terms of 60 days, and this you could split your shipment in two. So you could receive half of your order, for instance, in June and the other half in July. And keep in mind, you still have extended payment terms, so you would only start paying for your order, for instance, in August and in September. Now, at 24 units and more, that would be the highest tier. So the largest discounts, you'd get a 10% off dealer cost, free freight on your entire order, payment terms of 90 days, and again, we could split your order in half. So you receive the first half, for instance, in June, and then the other half later this summer. So I think that it's, I mean, for those who are looking at, or if you had a couple of pending orders, this may be an interesting, it's not too late to submit an early buy. You have up until the end of this month. So, keep in mind, there's always great savings when you're doing these type of early buys. Yeah, so, yeah, we went through all of that. So we could go on to the next slide. So to brighten the mood, I've kind of laid out all the products that are EPA 2020 available, and each product represents a color of the rainbow. I know that, despite the pandemic going on, we need to remain optimistic, and, brighter days are ahead of us. Yeah, we're in this together, and, I'm still really optimistic and looking forward to 2020. We have a great selection of EPA 2020 products available. And, we're here for you guys. So, yeah. So how long was that, Dominic? Am I good? I made my time.
Well, you did 17 minutes, but
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard.
We've had one cancellation, and
Oh,
we skipped a break.
okay.
So I could allow you to go 2 minutes over time.
Okay, great. Great. I mean, do any of the dealers, can any of the dealers ask any questions, or?
Yeah, guys, if you have questions, we actually have a couple minutes. The next
Great.
letter is arriving at 3. Yeah. So, questions for Anastasia?
Hey, yeah, Anastasia, I was under the influence that the Fusion 24 was already EPA approved.
It is EPA approved. It's not EPA 2020 approved. So, but that one, actually, we're working with the company that we've certified our products, and we're very close in finalizing that 2020 certification.
Is the 18 approved?
Yes, the 18 is 2020 approved. Yes.
Okay, my rep told me they're both approved, so.
Oh, I'm gonna have to punish Alan for that. No, so yeah, so the 24, but we've actually submitted the insert to Polytest. That's our certification lab. So they're going to start doing the test. We're hoping to finalize that this summer.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Oh, the new insert. You have accessibility for the fans from the front. There's an issue with the fan. Do you have to pull the whole unit out?
No, so the fans are, that's actually a good question. The fans are going to be like pre-assembled on the surround. So you won't have to pull out it's kind of similar to the Fusion. You won't have to, you just pull out the surround, and you'll have accessibility to the blowers. But we're trying to make it clean so that there's there's basically no cord showing, kind of like on the Fusion. Yeah, we're trying to make it as clean looking as possible.
And what else do I want to ask you? I lost it. Oh, the liner connect on the new one. Is it an inside quick connect?
Yes, so actually the line, so that's, it is a fixed on the, unlike the Fusion 18, which is a circulating chamber that comes separate, it's an adjustable circulating chamber. The flare will be a fixed circulating chamber. There is going to be a quick connection to the liner. It's 6 inches on this one, not 5 inches like the Fusion, but there will be an adapter, so if you want to drop down to 1 inch, you certainly can.
What's the retail prices on the new insert?
So we're looking at $35.99 for more like the flare, and then the Loomis will be priced a little, just because we try to competitively price the Ambiance products, and the flare would be around $38.99. Obviously, if you're looking for bigger surround options, it might be a little more expensive, but starting at $35.99 with a smaller surround. And that it comes already with the blowers. It comes with, that's with including surround everything in reality, because the blowers are pre-assembled on this unit.
All right, guys, time is really up. So thank you, Anastasia. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Thanks so much.
And
thank you very much, Dominique, for inviting me to spend some time with this group. And I see a number of friendly faces. That's wonderful. I see some names that we've talked to on the phone but not met before, and then a bunch of people that this is my first time. So today what I wanted to do is just spend a half an hour talking about my observations of hearth and barbecue businesses, the good and the bad and the areas for opportunity, and let you know how Sandler Training, and specifically myself, have worked with different hearth and barbecue businesses over the last decade or more. And I realized that, you know, our approach, it's not for everybody. I'm not here to convince everybody that you should become our clients. And for those of you that are not familiar with Sandler Training, we've been in business for decades. It's a global franchise business model with 250 locations in over 25 countries. And I started my business in 2006. And since that time, I've been working with entrepreneurial businesses ever since. Today, the years seem to have crept up. I've got more than 30 years experience in sales, and in sales management, or as a business owner, more than 20 years have somehow come along. So, you know, as I look back at, you know, how, let's see here, one sec. Sorry, just a sec here. My apologies. Here we go. As we look back at the last decade, you know, how was business for a lot of people in this industry? You know, the economy's been pretty strong. You know, in 2008, 2009, pretty ugly. But since that time, you know, the business has been good. And a lot of you will get business through contractors, designers, custom home builders, all those types of businesses. And as they've had customers, they drive business to you. And depending on the percentage of that, of your overall sales, it was a pretty nice relationship. And you had the retail walk-in traffic. And everybody on the Zoom today probably has a little different geographical area, but if you live in any municipal city of size, it's easy to bring people into your stores. And so business was okay. For some of you, maybe even good. And I'm a fan of this expression. I don't know if you've heard it before. The top line is vanity, the bottom line is sanity. And I think the purpose of owning a business is to make money. Now, if the only reason why you're in business is to make money, you probably won't be there for very long. I think you have to have a passion for what you do. But since you've decided to be in business, you might as well make a pretty darn good profit. And as I've talked to hearth and barbecue companies over the years, my first real introduction was when the Hearth Patio Barbecue Association of Canada invited me to just outside of Ottawa, Canada in 2008 to speak at their conference on a number of topics. And since that time, what I've really seen is an awful lot of businesses have sales teams that are friendly, they're warm, they're approachable, and they're waiting for people to come in the store. Sometimes you've got people, they're behind the desk, they're on the counter, The counter is protecting them, and they're waiting for that phone call to bring in some business. And perhaps even more introverted people, but still could be effective, they like that email request, maybe from the contractors as to what you can do. And, you know, once the salesperson has engaged with somebody, well, you've done an awful lot of product training. So whenever you have all that knowledge, you want to share that knowledge and show how wonderful your products are and what you know about the products. And then as a result, lots of times people say, boy, that's a lot of information. That's a lot of technical stuff. You know, could you write that up in a quote for me? And so when salespeople fail to realize that they're supposed to sell versus just quoting, well, now we pump out an awful lot of quotes. And as a result of pumping out all these quotes, and since 2010 to 2020 was a pretty good economy, problem is we didn't have time to really follow up on those quotes. And if you own the business or if you're a sales manager, this has probably been a frustration of yours, particularly if you've got a pretty good software program, it might be Evisys or something else, that tells you exactly how many quotes have been made with no known final outcome, because that's missed sales opportunities. So I want you to think about and try to quantify for yourself if what I described is even remotely close to how you guys have been operating. The question really becomes, what's been the financial impact of that approach? You know, I polled a few of my clients and I just asked them, how many quotes did you do last year? Some gave me a gut feel based on number per week multiplied by the weeks in the year. Others said, well, let me just go into Evisys. They pulled it up. So I just averaged it. Your store could be smaller or larger than this. And, you know, if you were to consider sales training, and I'm not saying it's for everybody, but if you were to consider sales training, I think you should be asking yourself, will you get a return on investment? So let's just pretend you had a 10% increase in sales, which I would consider to be extremely conservative, but I don't want to blow smoke up anybody's butt or have blue sky painting this picture here. And I asked the question, well, what's an average sale? And what I heard from a number of people was $4,000. So if your sales team could have just a 10% increase on 1,000 quotes at a $4,000 average sale, that's a $400,000 value. Now, what I know at Sandler Training and what we teach our sales clients is that money is a conceptual thing. What is a lot to one person will be a little to somebody else. And if your business is smaller than this, the impact will be less. If your business is bigger, the impact will be more. But when we look at sales effectiveness of how waiting for opportunities, talking about products, giving quotes, not following up, well, I got to say that's a more reactive than proactive approach. And when the contractor economy's been strong, they're bringing you business. But what I ask my clients is, do you actually know how many contractors are in your geographical area? And sometimes I hear, well, I got a gut feel. Well, my question is, do you have a database that tells you that? And then I'm asking, well, what's your gut feel tell you your market share of contractor business is? Is it as much as you think it could be? And most of the time I hear, no, it's not. We could have more contractor business. So the next question is, well, do you have good technique for actually prospecting versus reacting? And until we start working together, often that answer is no. And then a tougher question. Do you think your salespeople today are motivated to talk to strangers about starting brand new relationships to drive business to your store? So those are some good questions. And I remember a conversation many years ago where I asked a business owner, you know, what percentage of the time do you sell at list price? And after they got up from the floor from laughing out of their chair, they said, let me show you what that is in my computer system. That question alone, I believe, led to us working together. And so if salespeople are programmed to give discounts, Unfortunately, that's net margin right out the door from you. And a question. Well, let me tell you a quick story. When I first started in sales over 30 years ago, working for 3M, the first thing they did is they put me through Rock'em Sock'em sales training for one week. Now, of course, back then it was features, advantages, and benefits. It was Xerox Professional Selling 1. And they said, if you're still here in 3 weeks, because I naively accepted a 100% commission job when I didn't understand what draw against commission meant. 3 months later, I went back to the second phase of sales training. And I've gone through sales training a couple times since that time before I joined Sandler Training. But when was the last time your salespeople had selling sales training, not product knowledge training? And for yourself as the owners, if you're the sales manager or if you have a sales manager, did you go through the same thing I did? I was a good salesperson who was ambitious, so I got promoted. I continued to do well, so I asked for the next step, and they gave it to me. Here's a failing business unit. Turn it around. And after we grew that $300 million business unit, 800% growth profitability, I can tell you today, looking back, that we are good financially at hitting the numbers, and we are good at helping our customers to have a good experience. But I wasn't the best sales manager because nobody taught me how to be a sales manager. They just said, hey, salesperson, you seem ambitious. You want to go and take on more responsibility? Good luck. We hope you survive. We hope you survive. So I see a lot of not just hearth and barbecue stores, because this is a much broader comment, but lots of times companies really haven't invested in their own professional development, let alone their salespeople. Well, you know, if that's the past, today has been a huge wake-up call. Not that anybody could have anticipated what's happened around the world, but just think locally. Who thought somebody would actually buy a barbecue online without even speaking to a salesperson or seeing or touching the product? But that is in fact what's happening. And I don't pretend to be an economist. I do try to pay attention to what's going on in our economy, let alone around the world. And personally, I think we're in for a rough ride in the economy for a little while. So if you're taking any notes, here's one question I hope you take serious attention to. What are you doing as a business leader to pivot your company? I don't personally believe that business is going to go back to normal. I think things have changed. I've heard from the hearth and barbecue owners that I've been in conversations with that people like door-to-door delivery. They like driving up and having something put in their trunk. I believe the business world has changed, and I believe Amazon has been teaching people this forever, but maybe now in the hearth and barbecue business, there's going to be a lot more online purchasing. And so my question for you is, what are you going to do to pivot your business? What are the changes that you need to be thinking about and, more importantly, executing? Well, when I look at how a lot of people sell, I'm also curious about how do people buy a lot of the times? And it's a long time the internet's been around. Sometimes we forget, but it's allowed for prospects, buyers, to do an awful lot of research about what they want. And sometimes they might even know more than your brand new staff that you hire. And every once in a while, that knowledgeable person walks in the door, and sure, I was married for a long time, separated, owned my own home, made decisions all by myself. But I got remarried. So I'm not sure what percentage of the population has 2 adults at home, but I think it's pretty high. And when that's the case, if only 1 adult is coming in your store, then is there agreement, or is somebody trying to convince somebody else with that quote that you were so nice to provide them? And they say they're going to come back with their partner or spouse, but what percentage of the time they really do? I'm a big believer that this business isn't the one call close business. If we don't make a sale or book an appointment with it confirmed in the calendar, I think we just spent time with people that didn't buy from us. So some people might say, well, Andrew, I actually have done some sales training where I think I'm actually pretty good. Why are you guys any different or any better? And this is really for you to decide, because changing behavior takes time, you know, and that's what we need to do. We need to change attitudes about what's possible, provide new techniques, and then get people to change their behavior. And the first behavior that needs to change is management has to actually want to do things differently. And I know from talking to many of you that you guys have successful businesses that have been around a long time. Many of you have been profitable and invested those profits so that you are well protected. Good job. I ask you though, is the future going to be the same as the past? Because if you want your salespeople to make changes, you have to believe it and you have to reinforce it. And I hear sometimes, I've got 3 stores, I have 10 salespeople. I don't want to invest in all those salespeople. Well, my first question back is, well, why are they on your payroll? But that aside, we've got an easier way to look at this. I believe in using behavioral assessment tools, independent assessments that will tell you and I whether or not somebody really wants to change. And for far less than what you're paying people on a monthly basis, you can find out whether those people want to change or not. And once you know that, and there's a score, it's simple, it's math. It's a 1 to 99 range. If somebody scores 49 or less and you would like to invest in their sales development through us, that's fine. We'll give you an option. We'll charge you for materials, nothing else. Anybody who scores 50 or higher, we know from doing this for more than a decade that those people are highly likely to have a significant return on investment, and that would be a full investment per year. So we're using the X-rays and MRIs to protect your investment, because I don't want to take money from people and have you hope upon things when I can use science to predict whether you'll be happy or not. And the one thing we know about changing behavior is it takes time. You know, whether you want to get in shape, you can't go to the gym once and work out really, really hard for one day. You have to go continuously. We need reinforcement, ongoing training, not just a one and done affair. So as I think about the group that I'm going to be working with tomorrow morning for 1 hour as we learn interactively, I would call this a webinar where I'm speaking at you. If anybody has a question, feel free to interrupt, ask me something. I'd be happy about that. But when I'm doing training, we're sharing ideas, we're showing you how to do it, and then people are practicing. It is not like this experience right now. And because everybody through the United Buyers Group Sandler Selling System program is in your industry, every example has been tailored to what's going on. Tomorrow's examples are going to be tailored to barbecues. Last fall's were tailored to fireplaces. I also have what I call a public Sandler training program where people from a wide variety of industries are learning the Sandler selling system. And that works, it works very well. The challenge though is that the participants have to figure out how to tailor the examples to their world, but not tomorrow morning, because I'm doing that work for people. They just have to be willing to try new things and practice. And what we know is it's rare for somebody to learn something right away and go execute it. Sure, that happens every once in a while, but not all the time. So we provide a lot of reinforcement opportunities. If you have people that will listen to stuff, we've got audio reinforcement. If you have people that will watch things, we have short and or longer term videos that you can reinforce. And then of course there's written material. So I'm looking forward to the dozen or 15 people or so that I expect to be there tomorrow morning before their stores open to learn together. Another thing to consider is when you're selling today, where's the conversation really all about? And at Sandler, we are a prospect-focused selling methodology. Yes, you need to know features, advantages, and benefits of your product. You need to know product knowledge. But the product knowledge is for you to ask good questions and listen more. What we know about effective selling is that people will make an emotional decision first and then justify intellectually. So you've got to find what is the emotional reason why they called your store, emailed your store, or walked in. And by having the knowledge that you've taught your people and that manufacturers teach your people, then you need to ask great questions to find out which products will be the most appropriate for them. And then we need to listen. In fact, an effective salesperson is a great listener. I'm not sure if you can recall the last time you were in school, whether college, university, high school, but I ask you to consider, did you have some favorite teachers and did you have some that you hated? Did you have some subjects that you really liked and then realized it was because the teacher had a passion for what they did and they were effective at conveying information? Well, should we ever work together? I'm not only the person presenting this material, I'm also the person that actually facilitates it and trains it. And I don't have the opportunity to train anything unless I can make a sale. So the trainer is the salesperson. And we've been working with folks in your industry for more than a decade. So I'm extremely aware of the challenges that you go through when sales doesn't do a good job of identifying what happens. So service goes out, not with all the right parts, has to drive back, you're wasting time, it's expensive, and maybe your customer's not entirely happy with that experience. So, I thought I'd share just a couple of comments that our clients that we're currently working with that are UBG members would have to say about their experience with us. Right. I mentioned before that should we decide to work together, it's your choice whether you believe everybody will change. And if you do, and you want to work together, it's an investment per person per month for a year. But if you're not sure, if you remember last time you tried to introduce some software that your salespeople pushed back on, then we'd encourage you to first evaluate those people first and allow the independent behavioral assessment tool on that 1 to 99 range tell you and I whether this is a good idea. I've had many business owners ask me, Andrew, why do you do this? You look like a university program where they basically want to have money for butts and seats. And I said, well, actually, I'm a little bit different. I'm an entrepreneur just like you. And if I take your money when I know there's science that will predict whether somebody is likely to quickly, moderately, or very slowly change, then I don't think we're going to have a long-term relationship. And I would rather, what it would appear to look like, sacrifice money to me to give you expectations that are more likely. And so I'm trying to tie your investment to the results so that we have a mutually desirable outcome. Right? By the way, if that independent assessment says 49 or less, and you want to train your whole team, it'll only be a $500 investment for 12 months. That's 1 year. And you hope it's wrong. Well, if you're open to it, we'll have a conversation on the side throughout the year. And one thing I know is true. Either you'll be really, really happy because the assessment was wrong, or you'll be asking me, how do we find better quality people? But that choice will be yours. So one of our clients, I saw her here earlier, right? We're being more intentional about selling. We're actually trying to make a sale versus just giving somebody a quote. This shortens the sales cycle. This increases your win rate. And in my opinion, gives you a happier client. Another client that I saw around here with all the faces, they have multiple people that sell, so they were doing things differently. So now there's a real system in place. And because we have ongoing reinforcement training twice a month for 1 hour, after the training, they can go and use what they learned on the store floor. And people are implementing that and they're having success. I'm sure many of you know Brad Leonard and Alex Soublier. I met Alex in 2008 at that Canada event. And Brad today looks after the sales team. And when I said, Brad, can I have just like one key comment that you could share with the UBG members? First of all, he chuckled because he said, oh, there's been too many things for me to say one. But if I had to narrow it down, it's that people are following a process and we're getting a better result. So I can share with you, certainly through Hearth and Barbecue and solar and hot tub and custom home renovation companies, because those are all clients that I work with, that here's what owners happily share with me. Our sales team are discounting less. We've learned to sell more than what the customer just asked for. We're selling that additional second or third something. We've been able to find more contractors to work with. So a higher percentage of our sales on an annual basis we can predict upon, and we're getting more repeat business. Because we're listening to the customer, we're disqualifying tire kickers and investing time with the right people, our win rate has actually gone up. And we've got a common language. Everybody's approaching people the same way. We've got a system, we've got a game plan. So if you're curious whether we could make a positive impact on your business, here's the financial terms. We're putting together groups of United Buyer Group's members around common time zones. The objective is to be together twice a month for 1 hour, interactive, hands-on, Zoom-based. You could use an iPhone, but we recommend iPads, laptops, and desktops. You have to have a camera and you have to have a microphone. If you're not sure whether you've got people that really should be there, whether they'll change, and by the way, you might have some people that are performing just nicely, but you're not sure if they're going to change. Well, assess them first. The investment is small compared to what you pay them on a monthly basis. When we know the score, then the investment for those that are trainable is $750 a month per salesperson. I've had a lot of people say, Andrew, $9,000 sounds like a lot of money. Well, I look at it as if they only learn how to make a sale every other month from working with us for you to get 100% break even, I personally am going to call that a huge failure. Our objective is to make you guys and gals raving fans through our process that we've developed over a decade of figuring out how to help entrepreneurial companies get a return on investment. It's up to you to contact me. You don't need to chase me. I'd be happy to speak to anybody about how we'd work with your company, what choices you have. We're trying to put together groups that, quite frankly, the earlier we start, the better. You probably don't want to start this in September. I think you've got time in May and June to get moving on learning new things if you, the ownership, want to do so. I really appreciate the half hour that you guys have given me. If there's a minute and somebody has questions, I'd be happy to answer them, or people can more quietly contact me with that contact information. Dominique, I'll let you control the chats to see if there's any questions.
So any questions, guys, for Andrew? Can be chat or live or comments.
Yeah, no, there's a number of people that I recognize that we've worked together in management leadership development, in sales training, helping to hire differently, and one-on-one executive coaching. Those are the different services that we provide. Today, we've been introduced as the UBG sales partner, and I'm happy to extend those relationships with anybody who is not involved with us today. And I'll leave the ball in your court. Thanks very much for allowing me to be here today. And I hope you guys have really enjoyed UBG's first virtual trade show.
Thank you,
Bye,
Andrew.
everybody.
Thank you, Andrew.
And I'll stop sharing so that
it's done. I put that out already.
Okay, great. Bye, everybody.
All right, thanks. Okay, so we have one more presentation, guys. That's it. So we're getting to the end of this marathon. We got Brent from Miko. Brent, can you unmute yourself and say hi? Or
I will try.
there you go.
All right. Sounds good. Hello, everyone. I guess a brief background if you don't know who we are. We're safety and maintenance products for wood stoves and fireplaces. We're based out of Arlington, which is just north of Seattle. We moved out of Seattle last summer and made our permanent home a little farther north. Clark has owned the company since about the mid 80s. I've been here for 14 plus years. We actually manufacture our products here in our plant. We mix the glass cleaners, we mix the creosote products, we knit the fiberglass ropes. So we're, compared to the other couple competitors, we actually make our stuff ourselves, and we touch it every day. So if, as part of our, what is it called? Early buy, sorry. The early buy deal for us always goes from the show date through, we give you till about May 15th, and all the paperwork should be loaded in the ECAP. That will allow you to take the next week or two to digest what you've heard and place an order with us. Our Stampede deal, which normally is for a short window at the show, this year is for anyone, even people who haven't ordered from us and normally don't do a big enough order to get prepaid freight. We will send any order prepaid. So this is your chance. If you haven't bought from us before and you just want to try a few cases of some of the main products and not necessarily a full, pallet or half pallet order, this is your time to give it a try. So that will give free freight on any size order for this year's early buy. Also, normally we have a tiered structure on the discount for the early buy based on the group's total buy. This year, we're just saying, hey, everybody's going to get 10% and 90-day terms. That's our normal top level of our early buy discount. So everyone's getting that this year, and everyone's getting free freight. So there's, with 90-day terms and free freight, there's really no reason not to give it a try. Additionally, we get, our Stampede deal is on the Woolly fire starter. It's a different fire starter than the squares. It is completely woven and jagged, so there's lots of edges to be able to light it. So it's a good fire starter, especially for barbecues and charcoal. So something, if you're going to place your order and bring it in soon, it's a great summer item. You can take it camping, hiking, campfires, grill. It's a really good fire starter for the summertime as well. That was kind of a 4-pack that I showed a second ago that you can have in to sell for, $1, something, just a loss leader to get them to try it. And then the 30 count, 32 count is the box you would sell on returning customers. So is there any specific questions from you guys that over the years? I mean, we do sell or provide the group their Ambiance branded product. There's 23 items that are currently branded. There was requests to look at some others, and hopefully Dom will set up maybe a little poll to find out what items additionally you might want to see if you're doing the Ambiance branded products. If so, we will look at them. Some of them lend themselves, some of them don't, so we would have to discuss those. This year, I mean, like we had talked about at the show, it could be a good year for people to invest in their home. Having, barbecue, patio, fireplace is likely a place people will invest. So hopefully we will see that once we're all allowed to do business as usual, and having our products, the consumables, gets people in the showroom, gets them to return, and keeps them visiting your store and seeing what other items do you have. The early buy will end May 15th. So orders for the early buy, and to get all the benefits, you need to have orders to us by May 15th. We will start shipping typically in June 15th. If you don't want the order right away, you can, on your PO, just give us a delivery date, the last week of July, beginning of August, a specific date. I mean, we'll try to hit it. Freight companies usually can get there within a day or two of what we, based on when we ship. Let us know if there's anything else. You can email POs in, what most people do, and send those to our info email box. It's info@micomfg.com, or you can fax them in. All of our contact info is on the paperwork, which is in the ECAT. And if after you look through it, you have questions over the next week or two, give us a call, an email. We'll be happy to answer any product questions, order questions, anything like that.
A lot of the guys, they do a one order a year deal, right?
Typically, I mean, yeah, with the early buy, most people kind of do it now because with the discount and the 90-day terms, and that 90-day terms starts once we ship it. So if you want it early, that starts the clock a little sooner. But if you delay and say, hey, ship it to me in July, that's when the 90 days will start. But yeah, typically people will take advantage of the early buy. And then, depending on how the year goes, hopefully it goes really well and you'll need to fill in with a few other, some of the core items. Maybe you need a case or two extra of glass cleaner or a creosote product, or, one of the fire starters. So we're happy to do that generally. And, shipping to Canada, our freight carriers, we use UPS for small package typically, and for freight, it could be XPO, YRC, FedEx. We use a lot of the big carriers, and going to Canada for most of them isn't an issue.
So I know in Canada we do that one order deal. I have an order sample form. So Alex at Friendly Fires, he made up like a sample order that they themselves place once a year. So if that can help you guys, I can forward that sample order if you want to.
Is it sample order of our product specifically?
Yeah.
Okay, and you can ask us. Like I said, there's always the 20% of our products that drive 80% of the sales. If you want to know what those are, I mean, you can all probably guess. The various glass cleaners, the fire starters, the creosote and soot removal products. The fire starters, the fire lighting squares are usually a very high volume item for us. The woolies are gaining ground. The gel, some people love it. Some people think it's too much to handle and they don't want that in their showroom. That's fine. The gasketing, I mean, we do knit our own gasketing here. So it's a higher quality than you'll find from our two other competitors. It's a true medium density. If you took 10 feet of any size, half inch, let's say, and took 10 feet of the competitors and weighed them, ours is going to weigh more because it's a true medium density. So a lot of time people have their stove called for a half inch, but when they went to do it themselves a few years ago, they took home a competitive brand that didn't seal well, so they upsized to a 5/8 of that brand, and now they go buy a 5/8 of our gasketing, and when they go to shut the door, it binds and it doesn't shut because ours is, a 5/8 on a stove that really needed a half inch. It won't allow it to bind. So keep that in mind if you've had that come through your store where people had to upsize slightly to get a good seal with someone else's. Ours typically is true to size and will, do the job of sealing.
Good stuff. I got Sarah, Tina, and Matthew. I've got Yuan and Rob Booth as well for that sample order form. Anybody else wants that sample order form? So Dan, Kevin, Yuka.
You guys have all ordered before. Why do you need a sample order?
Yeah. Did I miss anyone? So I got Patrick and Sarah. Okay, Grace.
A question, do we do glowing embers? Yes, that is definitely one of our items. You'll find it on the price list. For the gas appliance side, we have only a handful of products. We do the glowing embers, we do silica sand, we do straight vermiculite. For us, the glowing embers is a mixture of the rock wool and a little vermiculite. They're not literally blended together, they're just in the bag. So if you wanted the rock wool only, you could just take the rock wool out, shake out some of the vermiculite, and you could just use it. It comes in we were talking yesterday, it's about the size, it's 12 ounces, the size of a loaf of bread. It's not a huge amount. You might be able to get 2 or 3 installs or replacement out of it. Or if it's a big unit, somebody has a large fireplace, you might need the whole thing for just one. But so yeah, and we do lava rock. So we have those 4 items for the freshening of gas log units. And then for people that have gas fireplaces, we do have the gas stove glass cleaner, which is a separate product from the wood stove versions. They attack their various glass differently. The wood stove is a chemical reaction that eats through it. The gas stove is that mineral buildup, and it's really just a polishing compound that helps you get the mineral deposit off the inside of the glass.
So the same question, the rock wool with no vermiculite or the opposite, the same question as yesterday on the American side. Is this something you talked to Clark about? Or?
Well, on the one hand, it seems, it's so simple to remove the vermiculite that why have another SKU? I mean, yes, our 40 or 50 products, but because of the various sizing, we have 200 plus SKUs. Where I think the glowing embers would cover everybody. If you need it, it's there, the vermiculite. If you don't, you just don't use it. And so I think it would need to see some serious numbers to say, okay, let's create a whole new SKU for that. And yeah, people did mention that Rutland no longer carries it. Great for us. I mean, we've always had it, and that's Rutland imports, I don't know if it's 30 to 50% of their products nowadays from overseas. I mean, we have a couple, our matches, our gloves, there's a handful of items we don't literally make that get imported, but I think for some of our competitors, they don't make all of their products anymore. So anyone else? Any other questions?
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Hey, last year we tried to bring in that colored flame product, and it was a wood product, and we were not allowed to bring it into Canada.
The color glow sticks or the color glow cones?
Exactly.
Would the pine cones fall under that as well? Do they consider? I mean, the sticks I can see it's literally kindling coated with that. Would the pine cones help?
I think because it's a wood or a combustible product, that's why they weren't letting us bring it in.
We do have the color glow crystals, which is just the crystals in a tub. So that would be a way that you would order those.
The other thing I was thinking, I could ship them to the border and then just pick them up, right?
Oh, the color glow crystals, you shouldn't have a problem. Like I said, those don't have the wood substrate they're attached to. It's literally the crystals that the consumer would then kind of throw on the fire like Harry Potter and get a whoosh of color.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Say hi to Clark for me.
I will.
All right. Other questions for Brent? All right, Brent. Well, thanks for spinning on a dime today. Like I contacted Clark and Brent, like I think it was like half an hour before we were starting this meeting when I got the cancellation from Rotom. So thanks for spinning on a dime. Yeah. So
Not a problem. Thanks. Everyone stay safe. We'll hopefully see you soon. Thank you.
thank you, Brent. What's cool, we have that ambiance labeled product too, right? For the chemicals and everything. So there's quite 23 items. So it's a cool concept too if we keeps on building the branding. All right. Okay, before you guys go, I have two more little details. First of all, this is a first for Buyers University that way. It would have been way nicer in Florida. So, I mean, I don't know how many of you still have snow on the ground, but you know, it would be definitely nicer in Florida, right? Palm trees and everything. I know some of you guys would have played golf already there, right? So just so it's snowing in Moncton, you can have it. So I would like to have your general appreciation about this virtual Buyers University. And be honest, that's fine. We can take criticism here. You're not gonna stop my sleep. So. Okay, so I'll stop this one. I'll share the results. There's no no's. Thank you. Now, so yesterday when we did this in the US, I'm telling you the same thing. So we've had suppliers that wanted to present that we turned down because we didn't want to run this till 8 p.m. obviously. 3 hours is a stretch. So the question I have for you is, do we do a round two? So I have a lineup of suppliers on the sidelines I would like to present, but it all depends on if you would like a round two. So I'm just sending this. And it would be a shorter one. We would aim to be under 2 hours. Okay, so I'm gonna share this. So I guess there is a round two. So, all right, so in the US, I don't have that poll now, but in the US, they were like, dumb, do it sooner than later, not wait too long. So what we did in the US, we scheduled it for next Tuesday. So would next Wednesday be okay, or you want it later? Like, how soon? Doesn't matter. So is Wednesday okay?
Good with
Same
me.
time? Yeah? Okay. So I'll get the lineup ready. I'll send the details to everybody.
Hey, Dom,
Yes?
do you have a cell number or something for Clark?
Yeah. It's on ECAT. I can give you, I think, do I have his cell phone? Or if you call the office, you'll be able to. So 206-262 8340.
Thanks.
All right, guys. So I'll work on the lineup for next week. It will be Wednesday, 1 p.m. Same deal, but we'll try to keep it under 2 hours. I cannot thank you enough for all you're doing here. Like this is tremendous support with the UBG. Like you guys are phenomenal, so we appreciate it. Those of you that have to go, you can go. Those of you that have questions or things to talk about, like we'll stay on. So whatever you want to, we'll go through questions or comments. Feel free to unmute yourself and go for it. And if you're done with us, you can go. That's okay. So either or. By the way, Roy is on the call. Maybe Roy, you want to say hi? You're muted. Hang on. Okay, go for it.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be back with you guys. Wish I could have been in Florida with you guys. That would have been a lot nicer, like we talked about. But I'm feeling a lot better. Kind of getting back in the swing of things. It's kind of a crazy time, obviously. I'm trying to work my business too, and it's a challenging time. I think it's almost worse for you guys than us. We can do some things here, but hopefully things will start getting better, and you guys will be kicking butt again real soon. So I'm feeling great, and I appreciate all the love from you guys. It's been wonderful. So hopefully we'll keep on working together, and great season.
Very good. Questions, comments, maybe on the online store, or where can I see more specs on the Ambiance Camado? So Jason, will send you, we're finalizing the brochure. If you go on the Ambiance website, under the charcoal ceramic grills, the Ambiance Camado details are on there.
Hey, Dom, I got a question.
Yeah.
My Napoleon rep told me that they were going to be paying 100% for everything for burn display units. Did they talk to you about that at all?
Donnie, what Napoleon, they offer, on displays, they have offers. So, and they will customize the offers to the member, depending on what you're willing to do, what you're willing to invest, and they will invest back into your store.
Right.
Some members, I saw Napoleon wrap their whole fleet of trucks. So Napoleon puts a lot of investment. If you're going ahead with them, they can invest a lot of money with you, and they've done it for several members.
And she sent it to you and I for.
Okay, that was, he just ran it by me. I was just wondering if they had anything on it at all.
Yeah.
On the Napoleon Ambiance units, guys, the volume rebate is higher. That's the other component too. There's more volume rebate on those than the compared to the regular Napoleon products. That's the other component of the deal.
On the Ambiance gas and wood.
Yep.
What is the rebate?
We can go up to 6 or 7% depending on the volume we'll get.
Okay.
On top of everything. Yeah.
Cool.
Kevin says, install the Napoleon, sell the Ambiance. I love it. Other comments, questions?
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, guys. Well, this is awesome. So, guys, if there's no more questions and comments, you can take the rest of the day.
Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone. So we'll see you next week, and the Ontario guys tomorrow, and I think Western Canada Monday. Anyway, so I'll see you in the process. Have fun, guys.